All right, welcome back to Power Forward. Justin White alongside Mateen Cleaves. Mateen, how you doing, my friend?
Justin, I am flying high, my friend. Life is all good, baby.
I love to hear that. And, Mateen, on the podcast, one of the topics that constantly comes up is goals. And I know that you are huge on goals. And,
yes.
Our loyal listeners will know that. What is the line, Mateen? Go ahead. Give them the line, your favorite line about goals.
Listen, your will to win must be greater than your fear of losing. So go set the goal. Go ahead.
See, there it is. I couldn't think of it, but I knew it'd be Johnny on the spot. And a lot of our guests too, Mateen, have said they love to set huge goals. And even if they don't reach them, that's okay, because the point is to set the goal in the first place. I got a twist for you, though, because our guest today is not that person. She sets a goal and she has to hit it. She absolutely has to. There's no other choice.
I love it.
With that, let's welcome in Skylar Welch. She is a mortgage broker from Maine with Maine Point Lending. Skylar, welcome to Power Forward.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here today.
We are happy to have you. And we're going to get into your goals mindset, but not yet. For starters, though, let's talk about your new company, because Maine Point Lending is a new adventure for you, which you started in October of 2020. So tell us how it's been going.
Yeah, it's brand new. We opened our doors in October and things are going so great. It's been really exciting. I mean, my goal and vision of Maine Point Lending was to have this really fun culture here that we're able to really give the buyers and each borrower a really great experience from start to finish, with great communication and feeling like they really are our only clients and that we really care about them, which we truly do. So that's really our goal here, is really just being able to do that while also bringing value to our real estate agents and our referral partners and into our community.
Okay, and if my ears are working, I think I heard Justin say you just started, your new company. And why? Because I'm sure you had a pretty good job, before starting your own company. So what catapulted you into wanting to start your own company?
Yeah, so we just started. Basically, my goal was really to I needed a way to be able to grow my business and hit my bigger goals that I have without it being just me. So I wanted a platform and an office where I could build a team to support my growth, support my vision. And that's why I really did that. And that's what we've been doing here. We've been hiring and training, and it's exciting. It's fun. It's stressful. It's all of those things, but things are going really, really well.
And, Skylar, maybe the biggest thing, as you told me previously, is that quite simply, you needed more help. I mean, you were putting in, what is it, like 17 to 20 hours a day sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's hard when you get to the point and you realize that your home life is suffering, your kids miss you, your husband misses you, you're missing important things at home, you're not home for dinner any night a week. Like, those are the types of things that you just realize, like, I may never have a balance in my life, but I need to figure out like a way to make it work for my family. So, part of this was I made a promise that I'm going to be home by 6:30, at least 3 days a week. And I'm going to sit down and have dinner with my family at least 3 days a week during the weekday, during the work week, because that's important, and you need to set those type of realistic things for yourself, and for your family. And that was one of the biggest reasons that I did this, was to be able to do that. I also really want to surround myself with like-minded people that have the same mentality. Like, the busier you are, the more motivated you are, the more driven you are, the more excited you are. People that, if they're busy, they're, oh God, more business, like never like that, more like a growth mentality, and people that share that same vision and culture and those type of things. So those are the type of people that I'm looking to hire and looking to grow and have hired, are those people with that same sort of mentality that walk in with a positive attitude every day.
Yeah, I like that. And for you, like, surrounding yourself around, people that's sort of like you. I know some people, when they build a team, some people, they don't care. Like, I don't care what your values are. I don't care. As long as you get the job done, That's cool with me. Some people might say, oh, you got to have certain values or I can't work with you. So for you, with that mindset, is that what you were thinking? Like, you got to have certain values just like me? Or, hey, man, whatever it is, let's just make sure we can work together and get the job done.
For me, it's really been more like a vibe. Like, what are you bringing in? What is this energy you're bringing in? Because that's what's important. Because if I'm spending this many hours with you every single day, and you're the person communicating with my buyers and communicating with my agents, I want, no matter who they speak to in this office, they're like, wow, this is great. Like, oh, they're really positive. They're really happy. They're excited. They want to help me. I can teach you everything else, but I can't teach you a positive attitude. I can't teach you a driven mindset. So if you have those, we can teach you everything else. We just, you have to be driven and you have to be positive. I mean, those are important things.
Especially when you're building your own team. I mean, like you said, Skylar, you're trying to create a culture here. It's not, you've already got the business part down. I mean, clearly, you know how to originate loans. But now cultivating your own team and being a leader for the first time, that's got to be a very interesting process for you as you start to build out this team. And certainly, I would assume that, you can identify which people are going to be a fit for you, and vice versa. You can probably also pretty easily identify which people may not be the best fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just about meeting them and asking them, I feel like as soon as you meet someone, you can get that. You can get that gist of like how they're going to be. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, you could have all the mortgage experience in the background ever, but if you're just like, blah, blah, it's like, we don't need that. We don't need that mentality. Like, you could be the best loan processor in the world, but if you're not positive, upbeat attitude, you're no use for me,
That's, it's funny that you said that, because I coming from a sports background, every bad team I was on, we had a bunch of negative guys, me guys, selfish, just negative. Every good team I was on, the positivity, the energy was so good. Like, everybody, got along, and they were willing to go over and beyond for each other. So, big at, even at UWM, we're big on our culture. Culture. And you talked about that positivity, because, I pop in a positive pill before I take a step out the bed. All right. So I'm super big on positivity. So, has that been your mentality? Have you always been like that, having a positive mindset your whole life?
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's the only way to go into anything. I mean, if you look at things in a pessimistic view, or you look at things the same thing with goals. Like, if you're like, well, I'm going to set this goal, but there's no way I'm ever going to reach it, then you're not going to reach it. But if you set a goal and you're like, this is a hard goal, I may not make this, and there will be obstacles in the way, but how am I going to overcome those obstacles? That's a mentality that you have to have. Here in the office, we sit down every day, and I don't bark orders at them and say, like, you do this, you do this. I'm like, all right, what do we need to accomplish today? All right, this, and this. Let's all, you take this, you do this, and let's all come together and check these things off the list. Like, I'm big on like lists. Like, how do we check what needs to be done? Let's get it done. However we need to get it done, we're all here to work and get it done. We're a team. We're a team, and we all have the same end goal.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because I was just about to ask you, how you find a balance, because, I said it off the top of the show. You set a goal, and it's just the type of person you are. You have to reach that goal. However, you just told us that we're going to work together as a team. We're going to have a positive attitude. We're all going to have this great vibe. It sounds like for you, though, the way to find that balance is by problem solving and finding a way together as a team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that it's funny, like, people have joked about it a lot. Like, when you retire, like, I think you should just be like a mortgage doctor, where people just come to you with their problems and you just fix them because you're like a problem solver. I'm like, that sounds like the worst job in retirement ever. But really, it's like, you have to be a problem solver. Every situation is different. Every scenario is different. And you have to work together to get there. There could be you can't have every day you could say, I'm going to do emails during this time. I'm going to talk to people during this time. I'm going to do new applications. Your day doesn't work like that. you could get 5 new applications in the morning. You could have a deal that's supposed to close at 3 that's now falling apart, that's now going to consume your life. Like, you have to be able to roll with the punches. You can't, if you don't just kind of roll with things, you'll get overwhelmed, I think.
Yeah, and you make a good point. And it's like, listening to you, Skylar, and just being around you, your energy, I can just tell you care about people. And especially when you're leading people, all right? I think it's very important for them to know that you care about them, because I'm sure, everything ain't all peaches and cream, and there's times that you have to hold people accountable. And I think if they know that you care, then they will allow you to hold themselves accountable. Can you kind of expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what's important is that you are encouraging and you are positive, as far as like, people make mistakes, things go wrong, not being like, you did this wrong, saying, okay, this is how it should be done, or this is how we fix this. Not a big deal. Everything's fixable. This is how we fix it. And then that makes you learn from your mistakes. But for me, like, I am not a person that takes like negativity very well. That shuts me down. But if we're like, okay, well, this is how we fix this, and this is how we do it right the next time, that's more positive. Like, I think it's important to be a thoughtful person, in both with your clients, with your agents, with your employees, with everything. If you're thoughtful and you are caring, then the rest of it is just natural. You'll get loyal employees. You'll get loyal real estate agents. You have clients that are going to continue to come back because you remember things. You pay attention. You listen. I mean, I had a client call me the other day. I think I did his loan in 2014. And he called me the other day. And first thing I said was, how's Nora? Okay, I don't even know how I know this, but he had a daughter in 2014. And I remember that they were pregnant, moving into the house, and her name was Nora. And he's like, oh my God, she's 6, she's in kindergarten, she's this and that, and we're having another baby, and now we need a bigger house. But they called me back because I took that time to invest in them from the beginning. So now I've helped them purchase their home, refinance their home, and now buying another home. Because I look at each client, like, whether they're in a position where they don't have credit that even qualifies, I'm going to help them buy their house when they can qualify. I'm then going to help them buy their next house when they outgrow the first one. I'm then going to help them buy their second home and their investment property, and every person in their life. So you need to leave that impression on them so that is a reality. And that's how I built my business, really.
I want to ask you more about that, because you said it, investing in somebody. And I think that for a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs out there, especially in the beginning, Skylar, they have this mindset of quantity over quality. And that can be fool's gold, because if you get a couple of clients and you treat them really well, guess what's going to happen? You're going to see those referral branches start to blossom, right? So what to that end, because it seems like that's the way you approach your business and have for some time, what is your advice for others out there, who may be early on in their careers and trying to find similar success?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you need to treat each of your clients like they're your biggest fans. So you can always be chasing the next real estate agent, but don't forget about the real estate agents that have been feeding you all this time. There are some of my real estate agents that I work with are the very first agents that I've ever worked with 10 years ago, and I've believed in them. I've helped them grow their businesses, and we've grown our businesses together. And now some of them are the biggest producers in the state, but I've been with them since they got inducted by the board of real estate agents, and I looked at them and I said, hey, welcome. Like, I'm so excited. If you have any lending questions, if you have any real estate, any questions and things, call me. No question is stupid. Like, I'm happy to tell you about a USDA loan and what they're going to look for in an appraisal. I'm happy to explain this and that. And they call me, and then we do a deal together, and then we do another deal together. And now, years later, we're still doing deals together because I invested in them from the beginning, and I believed in them from the beginning, and I helped them get where they are. And it's the same with your clients. If you take the time and have those conversations and, be personal, like, after closing, I say, how do the kids like their room? Like, are they so excited? Like, I reach out to them at the holidays. I reach out to them at tax time and send them their CDs so they don't have to look for it for taxes. I reach out to them in the spring and just say, hey, just check in and see how everything's going. When rates drop, I I sit in my bed at night while everyone's sleeping and I go through each thing individually and see who I can help refinance and actually save the money. I don't just blast out an email and say, hey, rates are low. I genuinely go into each file and say, oh, this is where their rate is. Looks like they have some more equity. It could drop their PMI, drop their rate. And then I present that to them, personally presenting it to them for their specific scenario. Then people are like, wow, she like actually cares. She's paying attention. And that's why I continue to do more and more business for the same people. And, you know, like I said earlier, I've closed well over 100 deals this year from past clients. Those aren't people that I'm paying leads for. I've actually never paid for a lead. I don't do any paid marketing at all. All of my business is straight word of mouth, really.
Wow.
And that's free business. Treat these people like you're their biggest fans. Don't constantly be chasing the next best thing. I'm not going out to every real estate agent trying to get them to send me a deal. I'm staying in front of the real estate agents that I already do business with, that I like, that I trust, that I know, that I'm comfortable with. Because in this industry, a lot of times you're spending more time talking to them than you're talking to your own mother. And you need to like them, you know, you need to actually care about them and want to spend time with them. Like people say all the time, like, I feel like all your agents are like your best friends. I'm like, well, I choose to work with people I like, you know, and you build a friendship with that because they know they can count on me. They know they can call me anytime. They know that I'm going to do my best to get the job done for them. And if you look at it with that mentality, then it becomes easy and it's not like a grind every day.
Yes, I love that. And it's funny, I was just looking at some timeshares and I had a salesperson and I just said, well, you know, I'm not going to get it right now, but give me a couple of days. And she changed her whole attitude towards me and she was snobby and I ended up calling another guy that I had met 3 years ago and bought the timeshare from him and hadn't interacted with him, but he was such a good dude. And I reached out to him and it came back 23 years later. So I think that's a perfect example of what you're talking about. Now, let me ask you something about your mindset, Skylar, because I'm telling you, now you got my blood boiling and because you're a go-getter. Now, did this having that go-get mentality, was this something that was in you as a little girl or where did it just come from?
Yeah. So I've always had this mentality and I think it's just who I am. Like people, they would always say like, I was like a little bull baby, like, you know, what you wanted, you always got. So when I was little, my dad bought me the snow cone machine when I was probably 6-7 years old. And I literally built me a cart. He dropped me off at Little League games every week. And I could have been out there playing Little League, but I was like, I've got money to make here. So I would get dropped off, he'd leave, and I would just stand there with my snow cone machine and I'd just be hustling. I'd sell snow cones. I'd make over $100 every game. If anyone hit a home run, I'd give them a free snow cone. Like, you know, it was kind of like, it was great. And then like, he'd take me to some, you know, we had a lot of like festivals and stuff in these little small towns. I'd like drive it down the street selling snow cones. And, you know, by the time I was 16, I'd saved enough money to buy a car. And
wow,
that was my goal. You know, I want to buy a car when I'm 16, you know, I'm saying this at 6-7 years old. And I did. And then when I was in 8th grade, in Maine, if you were valedictorian, you got free full scholarship to any Maine university if you were valedictorian. So in 8th grade, I said, I don't want any student loans. Like I want to go to college for free. I just knew it was something that I didn't want to start off life with a bunch of student loans. So in 8th grade, I'm like, I'm going to be valedictorian. I'm going to do whatever I have to do to do that. So I worked really hard and I was valedictorian and I went to school for free, you know? So, you know, there were times where I'm like, oh, I can't do this, like whatever. But that's when you work harder. You know, when those harder times come, you work harder to achieve your goals.
She decided she was going to be valedictorian, Mateen, in 8th grade, and then she made it happen. I mean, you make it sound a lot easier than it probably was, Skylar. I mean, that's not easy. That's not easy to do. You
know, that's what goals are for, right?
Well, I mean, sounds like you're in the right business. I mean, because, you know, you figure out what you want to do, and then you also figure out what's going to be required to get there. Mm-hmm. You also have a very interesting story, like so many of our clients, of how you got into this business. Because, you know, like the saying goes, I mean, I know you said you wanted to go to college for free, but you didn't go to college to become a mortgage broker, did you?
Does anybody?
I don't think so. I've yet to meet anyone.
Yeah, I have a very interesting story, and I think that it's kind of crazy, and people are like, what the heck? How'd you end up here? I went to college. I have an art degree. So I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree with an art history minor. I really wanted to be a wedding planner. I still do. That's my retirement goal. Maybe, I don't know. And that's like my passion, and what I love to do is plan parties and events and things like that. So I decided after college, I didn't really love where I was living. I didn't like what I was doing. So I moved to the Virgin Islands, and, it was just a fun little blip in my life that I decided to go down there. I was bartending and just playing and traveling, and, our friends had catamarans. So we go in different islands every weekend, and, it was just really, really fun. And it was a great experience, and I'm so grateful I did it. But then, after you're on vacation for a week, you're tired. Like after you're on vacation for a year, you're like, I am dead. Like I need to like drink some water and take a nap. So I decided so we moved back. I met my husband down there. He was doing the same thing, and he was a little out of control with just the island lifestyle. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. So either we're not going to work, or like we need to move stateside. So we decided to move back to the States, and I applied for a mortgage assistant position on Craigslist for a mortgage company that had just opened. They'd only been open for like a couple months, and they didn't really have any employees. It was brand new, just the husband and wife. And I called and I said, hey, I need a job. Like, I want to do this. Like, let's do this. And it's like, all right, we'll call you Tuesday at 2, blah, blah. He didn't call me. So I called him like, hey, you're supposed to call me at 2. He's like, oh, I got caught up, but I like it. I'm looking for someone that's going to follow up. So I was like, well, I'm driving from Missouri and I'll be there on Thursday. So I'll be there. So I pulled in, and I had nothing to wear because I had been living on an island. And I like borrowed a blazer from my friend that lived in town. And I like showed up at this interview, and they're like, you're a girl from down East Maine. Like I bet you have some good work ethic. I'm like, you know what, I do. So I got hired right then, and I just started, I started working, and I think maybe 3 weeks into that, I found out I was pregnant, and I was with our first baby, and I was like, all right, well, let's see what's going to happen now. So he's like, well, why don't you get licensed? Like, you get this stuff. I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? So I went, took all my tests. He's like, it's really hard. Like, you haven't even been in the industry. It's okay to fail. I was like, I don't have time to fail. I'm about to have a baby. So I got licensed like a few days before I had our baby, a month early. And then when I got back from maternity leave, I guess it was 2012, rates were super, super low, like they are now. And I just started hustling, like reaching out to every person I possibly could to see if they want to refinance. I started reaching out to every realtor in the state of Maine and be like, hey, I'm a new broker. You want to meet me? Like, just really grinding hard, but I was also assisting them. So I continued to assist them full time until 2015, at which point I was closing a lot of loans, and they're like, Sky, like, you don't have time to be doing this. I was like, I can't give up this $12 an hour. I've got a baby to support, And at this point, I had our second baby. So now I have 2 littles under 3, and they're like, we're not going to let you fail. Like, go ahead, go. Like, you'll be okay. And in the first 3 months, I made more money than I made the whole year before. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. And so I think 2006, that would have been like 2016, 17, 18. Every year I was like doubling my production. I closed like over 100 deals. Then I would close like 200. And then I had another baby. And then by 2018, I was closing like over 200. And then then it was funny because I was like at this interview, and they're like, how did you like double your volume? I was like, well, it's the first year I haven't had a baby or been nursing a baby since I've been in the business. Like, I had 3 babies in 5 years, this is my first year I've actually been able to work. So then this year I was very set on closing. I was like, I'm going to close 300 deals this year. And then I felt like I was kind of there was a lot of hard times this year. There were a lot of people losing their jobs. It was very difficult to fund a loan. Like VOEs were impossible. Employment was hard. Income was hard. And there was a lot of times this spring that I'm like, I need to revise my goal. I'm not going to ever hit 300. Maybe I should do 280. Maybe I should do this. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to hit my goal. So every day I would just sit down. And if I had like 5 minutes free, if I had an hour free, what do I have to do? How many more do I have to close this month to meet my goal? And I just kept doing that and making calls, making emails, doing more social media, whatever I needed to do to make sure I hit those goals. So, so then today is my last closing of 2020, which is so exciting. And we're ending with closing 323 deals this year. Wow. And we hit the goals that we wanted. And I was able to do that because I set those goals and I did what I had to do to meet them. I didn't make excuses. And I think that that's what so many people do. Is I could have said so many things like, my kids have been out of school since March. I have 3 kids home because of COVID. I have, I switched companies. Like I had to rebuild a new pipeline. I couldn't fund all these deals because of COVID. Like I could have said all of those things, but instead of saying those things, I said, it's a little hard, but what else do I have to do? What more can I do? And that's when I started like setting up Zoom meetings with real estate offices. I couldn't go see them. So let's get in front of them in other ways. Let's set them up. So now I'm not just getting in front of 1 agent or 2 agents. I'm getting in front of a whole office of agents that maybe don't know me. And now they're getting value from me because I'm providing information for them of how they can close deals and get more business during COVID. And now they're reaching out to me. And, I just started thinking more creative ways, like how can I continue to bring value to these agents during these difficult times? How can I stay in front of these people during difficult times? How can I stay in front of my past clients? In all of these ways, you just have to adapt. And I think that that's what's so important is adapt and roll with the times, instead of being like, oh, like the comps are so hard, I can't close these deals. Cut your comp, like, whatever you have to do. In some situations, we have to do that right now to get the deal done. And because I'm not a money-driven person, I just want to help people. I'm like, I want to do whatever I can to get this deal done for these people. And if you have that mentality and have more of a giver's mentality, then it just comes naturally.
Oh man, Skylar, just keep talking. I'm just sitting here writing. I'm writing so many jewels down, man. This is some great stuff, Skylar. And let me ask you this, man, because one of my sayings is a winner is going to find a way to win, no matter what. Winners find a way to win. Another saying I have is don't find the excuse, find a way. And, you talked about, I'm going to take you back down memory lane a little bit because you went to school. You didn't go to school for this. This was not your background.
Fine arts degree.
Exactly right. And see, life, in life, right. In life, we want to go straight. All right. Everybody wants to go straight, but sometimes you go left and you go right and you got to adapt and you got to adjust and you just got to find a way to make it happen. You got to put that work ethic into it. So, can you advise, because there's people on here, I think, some people ain't looking for a perfect world. Okay. So what advice do you have for someone? Okay. You had a plan to do this, but you had to turn left. But at the end of the day, you got to find a way to make it happen. So what advice would you have for that person?
I think that life doesn't always work out how you plan. You can't have a plan. I mean, life is always changing. So many things are always changing. So you just have to be able to adapt and roll with it. I mean, it's okay. We were talking earlier. I mean, if mortgage industry went away and everything was automated and there was no use for me anymore, I don't think I'm going to go into foreclosure and lose everything I have. I think I'm going to get another job and I'm going to work hard and I'm going to be successful no matter what I do. Yes. And I think if you have that mentality, no matter where you are, no matter what profession you're in, whatever you're doing, you will be successful. It's just a mentality that you have to have. And sometimes you may just have to turn a switch, like stop thinking like the world's against me. Stop accepting these excuses and making excuses. Make solutions. Instead of making excuses, make solutions and fix the problem. And I think that mentality makes you very successful in the mortgage industry as well, because there's so many times where you can place blame on the appraiser or the title company or the borrowers didn't get me this in time or the real estate agent didn't tell me about this. Don't make excuses. Don't place blame. Fix it. Just fix it. Whenever a problem comes up, I don't go into the situation being like, here's a problem. We're not going to close on time. I go in saying, we've run into an issue and here's A, B, and C of how we're going to fix it. And I need your help on these. And A, you do this, I do this, we're going to get it done. If this doesn't work out, here's plan B. And these are what we need to do. If you go into that mentality and you have to work with people that have that same mentality instead of people that are like, it's your fault. Like, we're not closing this. It's like, do you want to get this done or not? And that's how I go into every situation. Like, I'm not placing blame. I'll take blame if it's my fault, but I'm also going to fix the problem and we're also going to close. So, you have to always be creating solutions and not dwelling on problems.
I'm curious, because with all you've accomplished and all you have on your plate with 3 kids and now your own company, what advice do you give other people who approach you about how they can do something similar, especially the working moms out there?
Yeah, I mean, something I think is important is to know your strengths, because I wanted to do this for a long time, but I know that I'm not good at a lot of things like HR, compliance, payroll, call reports. All those things scared me, like really scared me. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, no way. Like, I could never fire anyone for the life of me. I can't, I don't even know how to do a call report. Like, those are things like I don't ever want to do. So for me, I was able to partner with a really great company out of New York that has those strengths, the technology, the compliance, the HR, the leadership that I needed to allow me to focus on my strength, which is producing, coaching, training. Those things are what I'm good at. And I knew that. So don't dwell on things that you're not good at that would bog down the things you are good at, because then the whole business is going to suffer. And I don't think as like a working mom, don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like, as far as having a balance, it's not all about having a balance. It's having what works for you. So I was telling Mateen earlier, like, for my family, we've had to adjust a lot. We've had to find things that work for us. Our kids have been in daycare since they were 8 weeks old. And now all of a sudden in March, we have 3 kids out of school in daycare. What the heck are we doing with them? Like, I don't know, and I can't give up time on my job. So as a family and as a family unit, we've had to figure it out. And, there's this role that my husband would think that he has to have, is like, I'm the provider. I have to be out working. I have to be here and there. And it took us years to kind of get to the point where he was okay with, like, I'll be picking them up and dropping them off. And now he's with them every afternoon, because my mom teaches them in the morning and he has them in the afternoon. And he goes grocery shopping, cooks dinner, and does laundry, and all of these things, which aren't like this normal stereotypical role that you'd think, but it's what works for our family. So my advice really is, like, do what works best for your family. Realize your value in what you do, and realize your value. Like, maybe you need to hire someone to do some things, and that's okay. And don't feel guilty about that, but also make sure that certain things are a priority. Like, my priority is, like, I will never miss a school play. I will never miss a lunch at the kids' school. I will volunteer in the kids' school every week. I will never miss a game or a practice or anything like that. Those are my priorities. But that's why we have flexibility. That's why we are in the position we're in, because I can work until 2 a.m. No one cares when I'm working. But if I have to be gone from 1 to 3 in the afternoon because my kid's having something going on, I'm going to be there, So knowing that that's okay, and knowing what the important things in your life really are, so that you have to have some sort of balance with that, because it can become overwhelming.
Oh, yes. Skylar, she's dropping straight jewels on us today. I love it. Okay. See, you're never going to miss a school play. You're never going to miss a game. And I try to coach to people the mindset, never relax. All right. You're going to hit goals because you like to set goals. When I always say, okay, you hit a goal, don't be afraid to raise the bar. You know, you have certain people that I've come across in my life, or like Matt Ishbia, he's one of those people. He's never relaxed. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, these are like greats that win and continue to stay driven. And I think it's that never relax mentality. Seem like that's kind of mentality you might have.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, my goal was to close 300 deals, but then I was like, all right, well, I'm probably going to hit that. So we hit it on like December 11th. And I was like, all right, our next goal is 320. We're going to hit 320. And my assistant's like, oh dear God, Skylar, I'm tired, you know? And I was like, why not? Like, we still have 20 more days. Like, we can close 20 more deals. So then we did, you know? And when we did our numbers today, she comes in, she's like, well, you did it. You told me you were going to do 320 and you did. And I was like, well, it's because it's all about what you think and what you feel and what you project, because what you project onto other people is what they're going to feel, especially in a position where people are looking up to you. People are looking at you as their leader. If you project a negative attitude or like a lazy or like not driven motivator, that's how they're going to project themselves. But everyone here is like hardworking. They like stay late if we need to. They do what we need to do to get everything done. But they also know how much I appreciate them. And I show them every day that I appreciate them. And I tell them every day that I appreciate them. And I thank them every single day. And that's important. You know, I celebrate them. We celebrate small things. We celebrate big things, because it's fun, you know, and it's positive and it's happy, and it's the way that people want to be in their life.
From selling snow cones at baseball games to class valedictorian to the Virgin Islands, the fine arts degree, and now killing it at your own company as a mortgage broker. It's quite a story, Skylar. We appreciate you sharing it with us. And I encourage people, if you want to check out some of Skylar's work online, especially with her social media work. I mean, the videos she puts out there, I mean, this looks like a professional production company is doing it for you. And I know that that's a big part of you, you know, getting referrals too. So I encourage people, check them out, because it's some good stuff.
Thank you so much. We're trying, you know, it's all pretty new to me, but you know, it's funny because I think something about that is like, don't be scared about it. Like, literally Mickey, my guy, he'll come in with a camera and be like, what do you think about today? And I'm like yesterday, he walks in, he's like, what do you want to talk about today? I'm like, does COVID have you feeling like you're busting at the seams? Do you need a bigger house? Do you need a playroom for your kids or a home office or blah, blah? Like, I can help you close on your first house and buy a second home and take the equity from that on the next one on the same day. Like, I don't know. I just blurt things out, but that's what people want. People want those like real, relatable things. And that's what we're trying to do over here. Just be relatable, you know?
Be yourself. Love it. Skylar Welch from Main Point Lending. Thanks so much for joining us. Continued success with this new adventure. We know one thing's for sure. You're not going to be taking any downtime because you don't believe in it. And I'm not sure. I mean, what would even happen if you did relax for a couple of minutes?
I mean, I don't know.
Exactly. You don't know.
I don't know how it works, because I don't think my phone doesn't stop ringing. So like, if you take downtime, I just have to hand my phone to somebody else, I think. I mean, there's a time, like, I know for my family, I need to take a break someday when we're allowed to travel again. Like, I'm due for a vacation.
I would say so. Skylar, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you guys so much. It was so great talking with you both.